So everyone's read Mill and the Floss by.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, if we choose English literature, do you think it lowers our chance of getting first top 100 rank or first top 50? What do you say? I mean,
No. Why would you say that?
because it's not very prevalent, and I don't know. I don't think that there's so many resources associated with
Yeah,
English
that's the
literature
thing.
available online.
The resources are less. It is more difficult than perceived by students. So a lot of students take it for wrong reasons. They think it's the easier choice. A lot of engineering students pick it because they feel their optional, their subject is too hard. So let's go with English. So a lot of students pick this thinking it's the easier way forward, but it's not. It's probably in top five in terms of difficulty. And then the lack of resources, right? So that makes it harder. So it's not that you won't get marks or your chances go down. It's that you're not able to prepare it well. That's the only reason.
True, true,
But
true.
those who prepare it well, there are so many examples in top 100. At least two or three of my students have been in top 200. And
And
those who come to me, they are like, I don't know, 10% of the entire lot who prepare. So I'm like, I'm not. So there must be a lot of other students who are scoring and getting into 100, 200, 300. Yesterday, this guy talked to me. He's appearing for an interview on 11th. And I just asked him, so there is a group in Telangana. There is this DGP, Dr. Mohan Bhagwat. You might have heard of him. He mentors a lot of aspirants, UPSC aspirants. So he has a lot of groups. So he sent me, referred those two students to me for interview prep. So I was like, I don't know. So I asked him, how did you prepare? So he stood up, he took out a printout folder, and it had the name of my channel and my photo on it. And he's like, sir, I looked at your videos and the downloadable stuff from here and there. So indirectly, I prepared with your stuff. And I don't know. So so that's the lack of resources. And I can't teach
so,
because I can't teach professionally. So that is the thing. I can't scale it. I can't teach professionally. So all I do is I send everything on YouTube, test series, everything is out there. But it is difficult to prepare on your own.
yeah, true. So what
If you
about the
do it,
first rank? Do you think this optional can get you in the top 10?
yes, it will. There is no reason why not. It's kind
Okay,
of
if you're very well prepared, then of course you
yeah,
can.
yeah, of course. But I keep
Yeah.
telling you that if you are scoring anything above 250 with English literature optional, you will score at least 10% more marks overall, specifically because of your writing and expression. Because you cannot
True.
score 250 with English literature optional if you're not good with writing. So if you're scoring 250, that proves you're good with writing and expression, and that will translate into other subjects, answers, GS, essays. So, and if you're not getting anywhere near 250, then tough.
So what do you think that how should be the presentation of answers be like? I mean, should it involve a lot of vocabulary, hard one, or should it be mild, moderate, or should it be easy for any person to read and interpret whatever you want to explain by your words?
I read some of Alka's answers. She's writing good answers. She's getting there, and assess the text that you read. Ask her nicely if she can share some of her answers. And
So
Yeah,
first
yeah.
you share the feedback, so
she is
I'll
doing
more than happily give feedback. Share it with Tejas.
share previous answers, the answers that you've already had
So, but
written.
done wasn't very good. I mean, when I compare it now with, I can
Yeah,
see a gap.
it's an evolution, of course.
Of
Yes.
course, yeah. But I think
Do share with
you'll
me
get
because I
there.
want to see that
Yeah.
evolution process of how
Okay,
you know.
tell us,
Tejasvi, I'm
Alka,
waiting for sir to share first.
help Tejasvi understand and also help me understand. What do you think? How do you write answers? What is expected? What's the
How do
approach?
I write answers? Okay, I read the
How
question
do
three
you
times
think?
first
How do you
to
think answers are expected? Now, I think you have some idea where to get, and obviously you have some distance to cover, but you have an idea. You're just practicing it to
yes.
execute that idea. So, what do you think? Answer
Yeah.
Tejasvi's question.
Okay. I first read the question thrice because the first time's reading and the third time reading does differ. And I read it like within a minute, three times. So
Mm,
it's not really what you feel the first time. You have to, yeah, evaluate. You have to catch the actual dimension that the question is asking. That comes only through practice. It's not on the there on the face of it.
mm,
True.
Then second, once I catch hold of that dimension, I place it, of course, within the framework of the text, and I try to summarize the maybe three, maybe four, five ideas that I have gathered from. I'm prepared, right? When I'm writing an answer, I already know the text, so it's not that I have to read the answer, read the question, then go back to the text. When I'm not going back to the text anymore, I already know what should be falling within the purview of that particular question, and I will see the word limit. Then if it is a 150 word, then I will work with maybe two ideas and one small addition or supplementary idea, complementary idea, sorry. If it's a 200 250 marker, three or four ideas if I can fit it in, because see, you have an introduction, you have to be practical over there as well. You have an introduction which you can limit to maybe 60 70 words at max. Then you have like two paragraphs, that's how I try to structure it, and then a conclusion. So these do take up words and you have to stick to the limit.
mm,
And then I or each and every paragraph that I write is it's only an expansion of the introductory points, arguments that I have placed.
mm,
I try to keep it as closely aligned to the introductory ideas, the ideas, sorry, not introductory ideas, the ideas that I have written down in my introductory paragraph. And the conclusion is again tying back all of it. So yeah, I try to keep it as watertight as possible, and I'm just refining that at the moment.
So do you
Tejasvi, did I
write
answer your question?
answers? Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a very good way of writing answers, whatever you say. But I have some questions regarding that. I mean, when you
Mm,
start writing, first you do the introduction, right?
mm,
And then you start
yeah.
writing the body. And with that body, how do you
Yeah,
write it? Is it like paragraph like, or you just give
paragraph.
points and then you
Always
start?
no,
Okay,
in English
paragraphs.
literature, I would prefer to write in paragraph. Yeah. In
Okay,
GS
okay.
papers, it's in points, but
Yeah.
in English, since it's a literature paper, I would prefer personally to write it in paragraph form.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
not very big paragraphs though. They're smaller, short paragraphs.
Okay, got it. And there's this another question. I mean, whatever you write there, it has to be backed by reasoning that you have learned from text, and it should
Textual
not be
reference,
your
yeah.
own self-formed opinions, right?
No, it is your own opinion which you are backing with the textual reference. Like it's
I
your
mean, in the
interpretation of
conclusion,
what you read.
no, that's not what I'm asking. I mean, in the conclusion part, we are not to write our own kind of. Is it, sir? I mean, can we write? Because
They just
last
we
time I
have you
think
written answers though.
I've only written one answer because right now I'm very busy with my GS. So I'll be completing everything,
Okay.
learning and doing
Probably
everything.
that's why you're asking this question.
Yeah. I
Because
just
no,
want to
no, I
learn from
don't.
you.
No, of course. No, what I'm trying to say actually is that, sorry, what did you ask? You said that in the conclusion, you don't have to place your opinion. No, you have to further underscore the fact that XYZ reasons are the reason why the argument you presented in the introduction is relevant, and then tied back to the question as well.
Okay,
So
okay, okay.
that's where you
Okay,
take your
getting.
stand again. At least that's what I do. And now sir can add on to this.
I mean, I wrote an answer, right? So I think that John did one. metaphysical poetry one. And there I think I injected it with my own conjecture, with
Mm.
my own opinion there. And you pointed out that your opinions don't matter in any answers. And I took it to be very genuine. I
Mm.
mean, that's why I'm asking. I mean, do you put down your opinion or not?
Okay, send us some answers, then we'll discuss.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
but why did you tell him that we can't put our opinion?
Your
Because I have
opinions
been
don't
doing a
matter
lot.
in a way of saying that you can't just say, "Ki, I think Adela Quested is not a feminist." That doesn't
Oh,
count.
like that. Okay. So
Tell
you're
me
I,
just
why.
I don't remember
so,
what I
so
wrote.
Tell,
basically write it in third person.
tell me why. No, no, tell me why. Of course, you shouldn't use the first person,
Yeah.
but also if you're throwing something very strong, it has to be backed by the textual logic. So you won't be able to say anything out of the box because you won't be able to prove it. So you, even though you read a text
Yeah.
and you like, no, Adela Quested is a weak character, I think so. Your think so doesn't matter. Tell me why. And if it stands the test of the logic, then it's fine. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you think. Your opinion is just a perspective that you can prove. If you can prove it with textual reference, fine. You'll try to beat it down to your perspective, it won't sit in. It has to be absolutely watertight. And that is what they are testing. So the first concern a lot of students have, and especially coming from non-literature background, कि is there a standard answer to these questions? कि कोई एक मॉडल आंसर है. And a lot of students ask me कि सर आप लिख दो एक मॉडल आंसर. So if I write a model answer, then they'll take it as a benchmark. This is it, right? That will be a pretty wrong way for anyone to look at it. So
Creativity dies, right? That's
there's
what
no
you say.
standard answer, but you, the chances of you stumbling upon an out of the box opinion are very, very less. You'll end up writing what is standard. So Adela Quested, feminist, yes. Elizabeth Bennet, feminist, yes. So many people have done researches and proved otherwise. So in fact, now the standard critical opinion is that she is not. But the standard widely mainstream opinion is that yes, you can say Jane Austen wrote feminist books. That is fine. So you won't be, without a lot of reading, you won't be able to stumble upon that idea. आपको लगेगा कि नहीं मेरे हिसाब से तो नहीं है, वो मेरे हिसाब से नहीं चलेगा बॉस. आप टेक्स्ट जितना पढ़ा है आपने एक दो हफ्ते में, उसके हिसाब से उतना ही दिखेगा, विच इज सफिशिएंट. यू नो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से.
Getting it,
कोई
yes.
स्टैंडर्ड आंसर स्टैंडर्ड है, स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है. लेकिन आप जो लिखोगे वो इतने पिजियन होल से वो जो आपको दिखेगा उतना एनफ है. कुछ स्टूडेंट्स दे थिंक कि अपोजिट पोजीशन लेने से या नॉन स्टैंडर्ड नॉन ट्रेडिशनल या नॉन पॉपुलर पोजीशन लेने से उनको मार्क्स ज़्यादा मिलेंगे. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. अगर आप प्रूव कर सकते हो तो कर लो, लेकिन इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट. एलिजाबेथ बेनेट को आप दूसरे पर्सपेक्टिव में लिख पाना, प्रूव करना करने के लिए बहुत सारा रिसर्च और पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी. दैट्स द थिंग. Unless you have that much of study behind you, you won't be able to prove it in 5 to 8 minutes. So by default, you'll end up writing a standard answer, जो कि सही होगा. तो सिंपल रखो. व्हाट जो आपको चमकता है टेक्स्ट पढ़ने के बाद, जो रेफरेंसेस आपको लॉजिक समझ में आते हैं, दे विल वर्क एज लॉन्ग एज इट इज लॉजिकली फूल प्रूफ, कि एक
So,
10 साल
so
के बच्चे को आप समझा सको.
So do you think we should revisit the book again? I mean,
विच
if
बुक?
I'm any book, if let's say I'm not catching a hold of the question and I'm not able to go to that part
हाँ, you
where I
should.
read it in past.
You should. You'll go back,
Okay.
flick it up. around, and you won't be reading it again. You won't need to read it again, but you can flick around, see कि यहाँ पे क्या बोला था, यहाँ पे क्या हुआ था. You'll do that.
Okay.
That is why when we are
Okay.
reading it, and this is how I suggested reading, कि when you're reading it for the first time, capture as many places around the text that you feel are important. Sticky notes लगा दो उस पे, write something that jumps off the page, so that कि आप बाद में जब देखो तो आप you can scroll through those sticky notes and those dog ears or whatever. तो पूरी बुक नहीं
True.
पढ़नी पड़ेगी आपको. There are sections that when you that in every individual reading is different. So सब कुछ तो याद नहीं रहेगा. There are moments that you'll remember and they are important moments. So जब आप क्वेश्चन पढ़ोगे you feel like अच्छा वहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा है, एक बार let me recollect. You'll go back, you read it. तो बात साफ हो जाएगी. तो original reading is very important, but we need to do it very fast and we need to do it critically the first time around. If you don't do it critically as in कि आपको 20 दिन नहीं लगाने उसमें कुछ, you won't get anything extra by taking more time. It is the quality of your reading. आप 1 घंटा भी लगा रहे हो तो 1 घंटा you should be very aware of it. You're not reading it like a any चेतन भगत novel और casually नहीं पढ़ सकते आप. You need to be really really aware of what you're doing because you're doing it for a purpose and that purpose is to be able to write an answer. You're not reading for pleasure. You're not reading कि बस पढ़ लिया हो गया. तो वो मैं माइंड इस तरह से काम करेगा व्हेन यू लुक एट ऑल दीज क्वेश्चंस पीवाईक्यूज फर्स्ट टाइम अराउंड द सेकंड टाइम अराउंड. तो वो अपने आप जो आपने पढ़ा है वो इट विल फाइंड कनेक्शंस. लाइक अलका सेड कि शी वुडंट गो बैक एंड रीड द टेक्स्ट अगेन. So she read it, presume that you are ready, look at the questions, think back, the mind will find connections from the text. When the first time I taught Passage to India, I've told you this many times, 2016 or 17. Prior to that, I had read that text in 2002. And somebody came to my house and she brought the book and she asked me some questions. And उसने पूछा कि you read this text. मैंने कहा, yeah, I've read this text. I didn't know she would ask me questions. She started asking me questions. And everything came back. So you'll never forget. It's just you have to be really critically available and present when you're reading the text. And that's why I keep saying this, keep believing this, that once you develop this critical presence, anything you will do in life, everything, any film, any music, anything, you will be very internally critical. And that's not a very good place to be in. So it took me a while to tame it down and calm it down and not be, you know, just looking at layers, unraveling the layers and trying to see what's happening behind. Not the world doesn't work like that, but for you, you'll have to demonstrate this skill, fortunately or unfortunately. So we've already spent a lot of time on answer writing. Let's rush it up a bit. Alka has to go at 10:30. She has to wake up tomorrow.
So one last thing. So
Hmm.
when can we discuss Wordsworth and Ibsen
You mean the answers?
answers?
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday or
Okay.
what day is it?
Tomorrow is Sunday, right?
Okay, ठीक है. We'll definitely do it tomorrow.
Yep.
I have
Yeah,
it.
tomorrow is Sunday.
I have a day off,
Okay.
finally. Okay, so both of you have read the text, I guess. Um, Last time we did discuss about Maggie Telliver's relationship, but Tejasvi wasn't aware of what was happening. So if
True.
there is a triangle of relationship, how would you describe Maggie Telliver's life from the relationship angle? How is that, Alka?
So brother and the two lovers,
Tom, Philip, and Stephen. Okay.
Philip and Stephen. Yeah.
And So do you feel she is biased obviously towards her brother, and
She's
she was genuinely respectful of Philip, but what was the deal with Stephen Guest?
so deal with respect to
Deal is in, was it aspirational? Philip Wickham to Philip, she maybe took for granted.
Tom and Philip.
Yeah, Philip,
I
she
don't
took
think
for
she took
granted.
Philip for granted.
Hmm.
No, so it doesn't seem like that to me. She just did not go with him because Tom had a beef with Philip.
Hmm. And what about Stephen? Why didn't she go with him?
She didn't want to hurt Lucy. She didn't want, they were already engaged, and that would also bring
Family,
societal criticism. Yeah,
family
family would be impacted.
dispute. So her entire life, she spent like a typical Victorian female, family and society first, and she didn't count. Sum total, mota mota. Okay.
So I feel her entire life has been suffering, isn't it? I mean, till the very last, she never
Hmm.
lived that life after her childhood,
Hmm.
that cozy life with family and everything. She and also
Hmm.
there's this deal with that society that why women's were not allowed to work, even though the men were not bringing enough,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, so there is that typical Victorian setup, obviously. That's the backbone of the narrative. Uh, Even though George Eliot has written her as the superior being, superior character compared to everyone else, but her entire world, but her own world, her family treated her. Some critics, like the ones on the screen, they say that her growth was stunted. She was not allowed to rise to her potential. She would be a better suitor to her father's business way forward, but that was not possible at that time. She was always the second, not even the second best. She was always just standing in line behind, holding her brother's back. And that the last scene where they die, she's holding him even in death. So that's what she is. She's like the. Do you think she could be called as Tom's strength throughout, though it is not proclaimed or hashed out overtly, but she is the real strength of at least Tom. Do you see any signs of strength from Maggie's character?
I don't know. I don't think so. I
Hmm?
don't see it in that way because much of the time Tom was busy bringing back the Dorlcote mill back to their side,
Hmm.
and and because looking at the society of that time, I feel women's were much of a burden as it looked like
Hmm.
that because he was also worried about, um, of course, the societal criticism about about his sister, and he was
Hmm.
also worried about the man she wants to marry. So, and
Hmm.
even till the last, when she eloped with this guy Stephen, when
Hmm.
she came back, he what do you say it? He shunned her. He
Hmm.
told her to get out of the sight. He told her that he was not at all proud of her. She has brought um,
Just dispute to the family and
yeah, ill name to the family and everything because it was not the first time. Even earlier, I think in the Red Ridge or Red Deeds, I don't remember
Hmm.
where she used to meet Phillips Wakeham.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even when Tom found her meeting him, of course, concealing this fact from the family, she went she I mean he went with her and confronted this guy Philip, and of course he chastised, gave admonition to this girl Maggie, of never seeing that man again. So I feel, I mean, I don't see her being or acting as strength to him.
Okay, this might put things in perspective. Major relationships of Maggie and why they were doomed to failure from the onset. Alka, why do you think? Does this, if it's a question, would you agree with this, or is that's? I think last time you said this is how it seems like that her relationship
Hmm.
to failure from the onset. But why is that the case? Why her relationships were doomed to failure from the onset?
Because of the society that she was part of, and the social expectations from her because of being a woman. Since childhood, she was always reprimanded for being outgoing, bubbly, cheerful. There
Mm,
are multiple examples in the childhood when they visit their aunts, uncles,
mm,
where she is always scolded
mm,
for being mischievous, even slightly mischievous. She cut off her hair in rebellion,
mm,
and that so it kept becoming worse. Even as she grew up, we see the two romantic relationships, they failed. Her endeavor to become a teacher, she left that and she came back.
mm,
So, and everything comes down to her being a woman and she herself denying her the opportunity to snap out of it because of a sense of obligation or duty
mm,
towards her family, towards her brother,
mm,
towards morality.
mm,
So that is the reason I would say that
mm,
that driving force
So would you say
was
it's,
what
it's destiny alone or
Even
I
societal
wouldn't
Family
say it's
Feud was a
destiny alone.
part of it,
societal conditioning?
wasn't it?
Mm. It's not just destiny, societal conditioning
So,
and the time she was living. But we have a character like Elizabeth Bennet around the same time, similar society, uh, similar everything. But while Lizzie Bennet is able to express herself, Maggie is not. So it's not
so
completely down to the societal construct.
It's about her as well, her personal
Yeah,
choices.
you can't blame कि हो ही नहीं सकता था.
So we can never blame society entirely, right? I mean, we are thinking beings. That would be a very
Exactly.
unfair
Mm.
take on
Yeah.
society as a whole. I
So
mean,
there is
whichever
this.
society
can
we
we
look
put
at, there'll
the
already be good and bad.
Hmm.
can we put the Family Feud as a background? I mean, with her
Huh?
relation with Phillips, I mean, how it was bound to fail because there was, of course, a feud between her father and
Hmm.
Mr. Wakeham.
Hmm. Yeah, but she always has had. You always have a choice. Uh, what decisions to make? Tess made some really difficult decisions despite everything. So you can't completely put everything on destiny. But psychoanalytical critics have said that it's her. It applies to everyone, but specifically for a girl growing up in Victorian England, it's a yearning for love and acceptance. And where do you expect it most? From the family. So you expect the family to love and accept you fully, which obviously didn't happen. Then she expected her brother, and she had a kind of a very casual and closer than anyone else in the text relationship with Tom. So she she yearned for love and acceptance from him. So Philip Wickham, Stephen Guest, a lot of other things she did to, you can say that for the sake of Tom. She could have overridden her parents or society, but she couldn't override her brother until the death. And do you remember what's the narrator's take when the narrator is visiting the graves and then the final closing remarks? Any of you remember that part? The very last.
In the very last, they were not
In their deaths, they were
divided.
together. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, not divided. Not,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, in their death, they were not divided. I just read
yes.
it out.
Mm. So they've had this relation, this tussle throughout their lives, where so is it just did Tom also love Maggie as much, or was it just a normal one-sided thing?
Very difficult to say, sir,
Mm,
because
Yes.
his idea of love, like a male's idea of expression of love in that society,
mm,
is very mm, muted, I would say.
mm,
There were times when I felt that he did because he called her to the boarding school. He was really looking forward to it. But then also, we can interpret as a sort of selfish wish
mm,
of his to for her to be his crutch of sorts in that situation where he was desperate. He only
mm,
looked out for her company when he was helpless.
mm.
Otherwise, he just did not really bother to take her along with him, where she really wanted to, and he never cared enough.
Yeah, but isn't that's what happens normally, irrespective of the society? He was able to be vulnerable with in front of her or with her. So when you seek someone in your desperate, helpless times, so you can only reach out to somebody you can be vulnerable and exposed to, right? You don't when you're happy and
Or
everything
somebody you
is
can
fine.
rely on.
You rely upon, depend upon somebody you know will not break your trust, and you can be naked in front of
Yep.
that person. Because when everything is
But we can
happy-dory,
also see it.
hmm,
Yes, sir. It could also be seen as being selfish because he knew that she would always be there for him, despite him not having been there. And whenever he needed, he just called upon her.
yeah, of course it is selfish. Let me tell you something beyond the text. The entire human existence is selfish first in the sense that it's wired for self-preservation first. That's the human nature, right? Hello, that's what it is. So even if
But we can act better
you can,
than Tom.
he did act better. There are so many things we're not reading the fine lines, but mota, you are judging him from his actions. We don't know what happened inside his heart. So we're judging from his actions that when he needed her, he knew he can rely upon her and he can seek her. But when everything was fine, he didn't bother. He imposed his ideas, not caring about what effect it would have on her. He could be a good brother. He could, for once, not think about himself or his family and let her be with Philip or Stephen. He was incapable of doing it because of not entirely societal constructs, but his own selfish nature, because it directly affected him, his ego. So yes, that is there. That is there. So yeah, but the idea is Maggie as a character, as a girl growing up in Victorian England, and George Eliot, it's very autobiographical of George Eliot. She observed the situation of women that all they yearned for is love and acceptance. So it was things that we take for granted in our society, love and acceptance. For those women, it even that was the survivalist threat, even from her own family, even from her own brother, the person she was closest to. So that's her tragedy. And right at the end, she played her part well. And all her relationships, all her decisions, she could not take it for herself. So when we see Nora walking out of the household, that's why it seemed like for people at that time to be such a drastic step. because for the first time, a woman is thinking about herself only, purely selfishly about herself. Not even the kids, not even the family, not even the household, not even about anything else. Just herself. She walks out. Maggie couldn't do it. Any Victorian, most Victorian women, they can't do it. That is what this text is hashing out in terms of highlighting it and just presenting it to us. She could have let him die. She could survive, couldn't she? She could find a way to survive. I don't know. I mean, it seemed like she almost died with him. And
I mean, only she could have survived if she wouldn't have gone for the rescue,
yeah,
but she was fine.
she could
Yeah.
have let him go and die, but of course that's not possible. She couldn't do it.
But she was very emotional.
Yeah,
She
that's
was emo
she was emotional. That's why she sacrificed every happiness for her brother's decisions or family's decisions. If she could be selfish even once, she could have picked the
just
man.
wrote come to Stephen.
Yeah, just went on. So it's difficult for us to understand. It's difficult for a man forever to understand this.
I mean, it's
It's
a
completely
dilemma for any women. I mean, what path to choose?
for a
There
man.
was a
Tejasvi, it is difficult for a man any in any era to understand why would she do it. Why would anyone do it? So
I
I
mean,
haven't
I
read many texts where if it was not written by a woman, I don't think you could actually get into those shoes and understand it. So for
we
us, it's
wouldn't know the backstory, of course.
it's an enigma.
I
It's
mean,
an enigma for us. Ki why would someone do this? How can someone love someone so much, care for someone so much that you can sacrifice your life's biggest happinesses? But that's where Victorian women are. Worse. Thankfully, hopefully, we have moved on from there. Okay, it's 10:30. I think, do you want to carry it on tomorrow? 10:28.